عليه وعليه طيب الطاهرين على معصومين القيامين السلف. Today's discussion, as Sheikh Ahmed has mentioned, is the discussion on the wilayah of Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayh, the daughter of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And this is the month in which we celebrate the birth anniversary of Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayh. When I was thinking about talking about Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayh today, we had been listening, and it's strange in a way that, you know, we're talking to somebody, people here who know Bibi Salamullah alayh so well. All Ahl al-Bayt, all Shi'at of the world know Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayh from Muharram discussions, from all the other discussions and all that. But looking into the characteristic of this lady and comparing it what is happening in 21st century when it comes to women power and the power of what we call it women, today's world, everybody is talking about it. In Islam, we don't have the women's status is very low. Women are treated badly, and the images of women in Islam is not very positive when it comes to the greater world of so-called the world, media and Western world. Why? Because they see women covered in black cloths, black chador, black, all that. And that automatically gives them some sort of an idea that women are oppressed. And there is no women power existed or exist in Islam. Yes, in certain countries, obviously, in Pakistan, the woman was a prime minister, Benazir Bhutto, and in many posts you will see that worldwide women have gained enormous power. Talking about Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayh, looking through the lens of Karbala, is not the only story when it comes to her character and her personality. A good few years ago, when I was searching a speaker in one of our Nansen conference, alhamdulillah, we concluded last year at Muharram, the 16th conference. One of the year I was looking for one lady speaker, and among the Christian priests who could actually talk about Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayh, because I give topics to these people and I asked them to prepare the paper. And she come back to me, she said, look, but I don't know anybody in Islam who would be worthwhile talking about it, women-wise. Bibi Fatima was very young when she passed away, the daughter of Rasulullah was very young, and she did not contribute as such in society. She was very homely, she was then the mother, and then she passed away at the age of 17. And then I turned around and I called her up. Her name is Jeannie. She's a vicar in Dolki Church. So I talked to Jeannie and I said to Jeannie that, look, have you heard of the lady Zainab Salamullah alayh, Zainab? She said, no, I haven't. So I said, look, this is the Wikipedia link I'm sending you. Please read about her and see if you can talk about her. Then see if you can read about her. So she read, and then she came back to me to say that, look, I was so surprised just to know the character she had and the amount of bravery she had. Today we're talking about women power. You know, the police women are, assistant commissioner is a lady in Dublin, and many ministers have happened. At that time, if you look back to 1,400 years, we had women power in the form of Bibi Zainab Salam Alaiha. She was the symbol of women power in Islam at that time. Nobody can challenge if people don't know. It is our failure that we don't able to communicate or propagate her personality to non-Muslims or people who don't know Bibi Zainab Salam. It is our duty that we must explain to people, and Ahl Sunnah as well, because Ahl Sunnah don't pay attention to the personality of our heroines and heroes of our tradition. They may have heard, they may not, but they don't practice. They don't celebrate the days, and they do not celebrate the commemoration. It is our tradition that we do commemorate and celebrate, and hence know ourselves, tell our children, tell our friends, those who are not aware of those people. You'll be surprised at how many people do not know, even today, our Imams. Oh, Zain al-Abidin has written so many books, or so many du'as books. Risalat al-Huquq, really? Who was he? He was the son of Imam Hussain, really? I mean, these are the ignorant people among Muslim people we're talking about, because they have never come across with Safa Sajjadiyya. And this is the problem in today's world. So holding the information about a person like Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayhi, not only looking from the prism of Karbala, yes, that was the time she shined, that was the time she preserved Islam. How can she preserve Islam? By holding the majalises. She's the person who first held the majalis of Imam Hussain. And in that message is hidden the message of Islam. So Bibi Zainab Salamullah's character and the contribution to Islam is greater than any other woman in Islam you can say. Bibi Khadija, yes, she contributed, she supported Rasulullah, spent all her wealth. At crucial time when Rasulullah was not rich, she married him, made him ghani, made him rich, spent all her wealth. Yes, her contribution is very strong and very powerful. You can say that, but majority of the Muslims would know that. The majority of the Muslims do not know Bibi Zainab Salamullah, unfortunately. And therefore, it is our responsibility to propagate the characteristics of this lady. 5th of Jamadi Awwal is her birthday in Medina, and grew up after Imam Hussain and Imam Hassan, the third child of Amir al-Mu'mineen, grew up in a normal household of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, with the bravery of Amir al-Mu'mineen. She toured all the locations with Amir al-Mu'mineen when he was in power for 4.5 years, 5 years. She came to Kufa, she came to Damascus. And at that time, Imam Ali was explaining to her, look around these places. At one stage, when I will not be around, you may come back here in a very different circumstances, in a very harsh and a difficult circumstances. So she questioned, why you are showing it to me, these places? Why are you? What is going to happen? And he said that is going to be very difficult for you when I may not be around. Karbala, yes, proven to be the litmus test for many people. And by the bravery of Sayyidina Zainab Salamullah alayhi, she took the reign of the hero, in fact. Had she not taken a reign of heroine at that time, the message of Rasulullah, the message of Karbala would have been finished. Yes, people have forgotten Karbala. So much so that when she was in prison of Yazid in Damascus, she was crying one day and one night, and she said, "Who will remember my brother Hussein? Who will remember this massacre?" And she slept. So in her dream came Rasulullah, her grandfather. I said, "Zainab, don't be disheartened. I will create a nation who will continue the actual message of Rasulullah, actual message of my message, your grandfather's message, Allah's message, up till the Yawm al-Qiyamah. Don't be disheartened. Your brother will not be forgotten. Ahlul Bayt will not be forgotten. Why? Because this is the message of Allah. And in your message, you do your duty by continuing your mission after your brother's mission." Her mission was being very successful in a way that she firstly requested, as soon as she was released from the prison of Yazid, she requested a house. Conditions were imposed upon. All the properties has to be returned, what has been looted, and then a house has been given to us so we can communicate, we can commemorate, tell the low people, especially the women around us, what has happened in Karbala last year. We're talking about a year gone by the time they were released from Karbala. So her duty, and of course, her speeches in the prison, as a prisoner of war. Now this is the women. This is, you're talking about women in power today. People talk about women power, courageous women. Women are asserting themselves in the world today. Alhamdulillah, the president of European Union, EU, is Ursula von der Leyen. Ursula is the president of EU. And that is also a very proud thing for Europeans to say that, that Ursula von der Leyen, is the president of EU. Now we recognize, now we acknowledge giving power and women power and all that. We have women power at that time. And this is our biggest strength, to communicate, to propagate, and to tell people that we, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, had a character like Zainab Salam. Zainab was the third youngest child of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and she passed away after a few years of Karbala back in Medina, in Damascus. Syrian war. One of the guys who asked me, journalists has asked me, he said, why the Shias are so, Iranians are sending soldiers, Hezbollah is there, all the others are there defending Bashar al-Assad, because he made a documentary here on Syria, pro-Bashar. I made him sad, and I said, look, listen to me. Why Bashar's father has been very soft on the tourism, because a big revenue of Syria comes from Shias. People travel, and he respected, being an Alawi, he respected our tradition. The holy shrine of Sayyid Zainab Salam alayhi is one of the oldest shrines, and the tradition for scholars to go there and study, and the houses. My brother lives there, and he studied there, and many scholars go there. I said, that is the reason, one of the biggest reasons why the world of Shi'as are defending, and we are proudly defending, say, the Zainab Salam. Yes, attack happened very close to it. The shrine, holy shrine, was damaged a bit, and not that much, but yes, there were serious attacks. The position of Zainab in Islam is central. One has to acknowledge this point. The position of Zainab is not ordinary position, because she is the beacon and the light of the savior of Islam. Imam Hussein, yes, sacrificed himself, but he couldn't do anything more than sacrificing himself and his children. The carrier of the message is the Zainab Salam. And this is the message in today's world, 21st century, and the future, that we must propagate the position. We should have a conference purely devoted to Zainab. Salamullah alayhi. As a women's conference, women should lead this article, yes. Being a man and us talking about women is one issue. I think women should come forward, organize, the event around that, gather together the women and explain that what she has did and what she has contributed is greater than any other woman in Islam. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Muhammad.